wears his Sunday best.
Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined today by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, the General Manager of HomeGain. Reminder that if you ever have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to us is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. Louis, we had brought up the point a lot of these times that these programs that are implemented out there ended up costing more money and doing less good than they ever have. They have more intentions to do so much good, but they don't. This FHA short sale program is a prime example of that. This program may have cost HUD about $1 billion in false claims. It was the pre-foreclosure sale program that FHA came out with that allowed borrowers that were in default due to an adverse or unavoidable financial situation to sell their home at a fair market value and use the proceeds to pay off an FHA guaranteed mortgage, even if their loan was more than their house was worth at that point in time. The lenders, they had to maintain supporting documentation that demonstrated that the borrowers would financially be eligible for this program, and they were going to pay a cash incentive of $1,000 for everybody participating in the program. FHA paid claims on nearly 20,000 short sales from September 1 of 2010 to August 31st of 2011, with the claims totaling over $1 billion. Okay, and what's interesting is that because most of these claims were basically falsely paying these things out because borrowers had assets when they really said they didn't. They were supposed to be owner occupied and they weren't. There was no income verification. I mean, just really silly things. And most of the time, that's like, I think it's more just for these political candidates. It's to say, hey, this was my program. I put that out there. Guess how many people it helped? And then it ends up costing the taxpayers even more money because they put this out there. It was supposed to help people who were, going into default, allow them to short sale their homes so they didn't have all this bad stuff take place. And now, in the end of the day, it's going to cost the taxpayers money because they're going to turn back around and say, well, if we lost money, we got to turn around and recoup that somehow. Who are they going to penalize?
In government, good intentions count. You can always say, well, at least I tried, but the Republicans wouldn't let me or the Democrats wouldn't let me. In private business, good intentions and trying don't cut it. You have to show results or you're out.
Yeah.
It seems like in politics, the guy or woman who's out there, coming up with these programs, they can always blame somebody for it not working.
It's very easy to do that, isn't it?
And you rile up your side to say, yeah, if it wasn't for those on the other side, this would have worked.
Yeah, and it's a constant just pointing the finger at the other side. And, I say all the time, it's like, when are we as a country just going to, be held accountable for our actions and come up with, plans that actually could potentially help the masses, save the value of our dollar, do things that make sense that would be beneficial to the rest of our country.
The best thing to do is have no plans and just let the market sort itself out, because these plans are harebrained and they don't work anyway.
Yeah, but it's if they can't meddle in things, and if they feel like that they're not gonna they're not gonna make the dollar that or earn the dollar that they are being paid out. And that's been like the nature of the beast with our government for such a long period of time. It's for them to say, hey, just stay out of everything. They're not going to do it.
No, you're right. The bigger the government gets, the more it wants to do, and the more it has to do, and the more damage it causes.
Yeah, I mean the fact that they own Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and now they're trying to figure out a plan to privatize it somehow. I just don't see how it can happen. There's not enough people that want to enter into this market because it's not that lucrative, especially where interest rates are right now.
They've done, the two are connected. They've entered the student loan market, too. They basically own that one.
Yeah.
And that's driving up the price of loans and college tuition. And then, people don't have money to buy houses, and they control that market too.
You know, I think I had a discussion with somebody not too long ago, and it was like, well, what would the alternative be if they weren't going to lend money for people to go to school? I'd be like, well, what would happen is that the price of college tuition would actually come down.
Right. Fewer people would go, and then the people that were really interested would go, and they'd be able to pay a reasonable price for their tuition.
You know, James and I were just talking off air that, you know, it's just assumed that you've got to go to school for 4 years, get that degree, and you're going to come out on the other side, and you're going to have a job waiting for you. And
if that doesn't work, go get a graduate degree.
Yeah. Okay. When in doubt, okay, the graduate degree didn't work. You need to get your doctorate.
Right.
Now you're a doctor. Now you're going to get paid like one. That's not the way it works. I mean,
you have an education doesn't make a job appear.
No, and you know, it's more about people.
Unless you're going to go into work for yourself, then that extra training, if it somehow helps you, will help you with your own business.
Yeah, and if, you know, to me, if they really wanted to help people, and when you're going through middle school and high school is when they should really be pushing for kids to be creative and innovative, and not just saying, hey, you want to go to college for 4 years right after you get out of high school, and that's going to set you on the path to financial freedom. Because essentially that's what they're telling kids these days. And the harsh reality is right now when these kids are getting out of college, they can't find a job. And, you know, any hopes that they had of potentially buying a home are going to have to be held off until they can find a job. Many are coming out with a degree that they originally thought that they wanted, but now they can't find a job with that degree, so they have to go back and get a different certification to start another new career path. So at the end of the day, it's hurting people, and it's giving them a pile of debt.
Yeah, unless you're an academic, you can read all the great literature and history. You really don't need to go to college, and there's really not many jobs involved with that anyway. But that's what a lot of people take. Liberal arts, it's still amazing that we have to go to India and overseas to get engineers.
Right.
We have a glut of liberal arts candidates and graduates and business graduates, but we have a dearth of engineer graduates that can do the job in Silicon Valley and across the country in technology departments.
Yeah, I totally agree. I
mean, those are hard degrees to take.
You know, I have the hardest time with just telling, you know, kids today that they need to, you know, be stuck with, you know, $50, $60, $70, $100,000 in student loans after they're done, and going to be, you know, trying to find a job that's going to make enough money just to pay those back in a short period of time. At the end of the day, it's going to be quite difficult. I mean, people.
That kind of education should be a luxury. So you want to sit around and read Plato and, you know, read about the French Revolution. You want to learn the causes of World War II. That's interesting, and it certainly keeps your mind active. It's a lot of money to spend what essentially becomes a hobby.
Yeah. And then at the end of the day, I mean, like I've seen numerous clients where, you know, you consolidated your student loan debt, so, you know, obviously you're trying to get qualified for a mortgage. Can you tell me what you consolidated your $150,000 loans? What's that monthly payment? Oh, it's only $900. Oh, well, that's just a small mortgage payment. You know, you're going to be stuck for the next 30 years just trying to get rid of that debt. And, you know, many times you're only allowed to consolidate them one time, I believe. And I mean, it hinders the ability to be able to buy, you know, real estate down the road, because you're going to have to be making an income enough to cover that small mortgage payment as well as get a new one. It's interesting to see over time. I mean, those loans just keep increasing. I will tell people that, you know, when you do have student loans that you're paying on, and this is a question that we get all the time as far as, okay, well, do I have to count them because they're in deferment? I will tell you that most of the time you do have to count those loans against you, even if you're not paying on them right now. That is a big question we get all the time. Okay, well, that's great. I'm not paying on them right now. Can I still get a mortgage and qualify for a mortgage without having to count that payment? And most of the time, unless the deferment period, I think, is going to continue for at least, I want to say it's 2 or 3 years, then you're going to have to include that in the payment. And some lenders are going to require to count it in there regardless. So you just need to plan for that if you are going to have student loan payments coming up. When you go to qualify for a mortgage, you're going to need to find out from your student loan companies what your payment's going to be, okay, so that you can advise whatever lender that you're working with on what that payment's going to be, so they can factor that into your qualifying ratios. Just something to think about. We're coming up on the end of the show here, Lewis. I mean, many people just say, for people that are out there that have gotten out of college now and have found a good paying job, and they're looking for their first house to buy, and they want to find a good agent, and I recommend your services. Can you tell people where they should go to start their search, try to connect with an agent?
Sure. There's plenty to find at homegame.com. You can find a real estate agent by comparing agents anonymously. They'll propose to you. We won't give them your contact details, but we'll let them know what you're looking for. They'll write up proposals, send them to you. You can compare realtors on an apples-to-apples basis. Pick the one you want. Get $150 if you use a home gain realtor at closing. You can check out home prices, comparable sales in your neighborhood just by typing in your address. You can also view our many listings of new homes for sale, existing homes for sales, condos, foreclosures, apartments as well. And you can also check out our many surveys that will help you understand what changes you can make to your house to make it more sellable. And you can also check out where homeowners and realtors think home prices are headed. So go to homegain.com, please, and check out all we have to offer. Thanks, everyone, and thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Louis. Have a great day. Guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Remember that if you have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, whether, it's trying to get your credit fixed, whether it's trying to, get pre-qualified to purchase your first home or another home, whatever it may be, short sale versus foreclosure, and you're looking for some answers and some guidance, you're going through a loan modification, you're trying to restructure your loan with your current lender, and you're having problems with that, I completely understand. And unfortunately, majority of those modifications don't go through. So you're stuck with, okay, well, what do I do from here? We can help you with that. We can give you the guidance that you need, put you in contact with the people that you need to speak with to, try to get rid of the bad situations that you're currently in. It's 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. Or, like I said, visit us on the web at realestate360live.com. That's realestate360live.com. On the right-hand side, there's an Ask a Question button. That's where I tell most people to go. That's where our many listeners are writing questions, and I use those questions to use for good radio down the road. So please feel free to enter in any questions you may have on the right-hand side on the Ask a Question button, and I'll be glad to get back to you, guys. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll be back again next Monday. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week.